caste and class. These two different things. The Dalit movement and the OBC, SC, ST, and even the Muslims also within Muslims. And there is a big movement in India is talking about the caste, saying that caste is a major problem in India. And there is some left groups actually, left ideological work. They say that class is a factor, even though in some places they also talk about caste. Like in here they have some organizations, left organizations. So that in your view, what is a major problem in India?
No, my own response is that Marxism in this country has come from outside stimuli. The stimulus came from outside the country. Not that ideologies after parliamentary democracy also has come from outside. But what happens is that our communist movement was inspired by the Soviet revolution. So that's how it started. In fact, if you go to Marx, Marx said that when he analyzed the modes of production in Europe, he himself said that he was a bit puzzled about Asia, and he did not have sufficient information to theorize or conceptualize an Asia. So when he talked of the slave mode of production, feudal mode of production, capitalist mode of production, and then socialist, right, how history in Europe changed, he was capturing a historical moment where capitalism was unfolding itself. And he went back into history and he said, we have moved to the capitalist mode of production, from here we will move to the humanity, inevitably will move to the socialist mode. But he said, as far as Asia is concerned, I am not able to understand the mode of production, and therefore he said, I will call it Asiatic mode of production. And Marx left it there. What Mao Zedong has done is that he applied the Marxist tools, Marxist historical analysis to Chinese situation, and he departed from Marx, conventional Marxist formulation. And he said that one need not pass through a capitalist mode of production to go to socialist, because Asiatic societies are struck in a feudal and a colonial mode, and therefore semi-feudal, semi-colonial societies will not have the same rule as Europe had. And therefore he thought that peasantry, who Marx completely condemned, saying that the peasantry is conservative, religious, they are not capable, and therefore only industrial working class will be the vanguard of the revolution, which Marx framed. Mao Zedong thought that even peasantry has the revolutionary potential, and therefore he mobilized the Chinese peasant. Now the creative interpretation of Marxism to China succeeded, and therefore Mao was able to at least organize the masses, apart from various other historical conditions obtained in China. Now in India, if you look at till the late 60s or early 70s of the Naxalite movement, the Marxists of India went strictly by the Marx conventional analysis, and Kosambi, who has interpreted the Indian history in a most creative manner, and himself was a Marxist, member of the Marxist party. Because of his insight into history, he was differing with the Marxist party. And at one point he differed with Dange, and he wrote a critique of Dange and concluded saying that Marxism is a method of thinking, not a substitute to thinking. So Kosambi's idea was that Marxism is a methodology of analysis, but it's not a substitute to every question, and you can't find answers within the Marxism. Somewhere I think our failure to creatively apply Marxist category of class to the specificity of India, I think, has been one problem. Second thing that happened is that the first phase of Marxism is inspired by Soviets. Second phase of Marxism was inspired by China. But China has one nationality, 90% of the people speak one language, right? And therefore Mao was able to, and China went for Buddhism. I mean, almost 2,500 back. China has that history. Whereas India, which has produced Buddha and Buddhism, remained non-Buddhist. And Buddhism went to China, Japan and all that, it clicked. In fact, India should have gone Buddhist. If the whole China can go a Buddhist way, after all, we have, created that philosophy. These conditions have produced Buddhism, but India rejected Buddhism. Now, I think somewhere, the Chinese history and Indian history differ. Ideology went from here, but China accepted ideology almost 2,000 years back. Therefore, I think in Indian case, I think caste is a specific category which Kosambi thought that caste is class when productive forces are underdeveloped. But class and caste start getting differentiated as the productive forces rise. And it's a multi-mode society, it's not a single dominant mode, but we have different modes of production. Now, how do you negotiate with a multi-mode society, which also has a multi-caste? And therefore, that Ambedkar, when he, conceptualized, then he said the class and caste, he said caste is the closest class, and class is open caste. No, obviously he said that the class category and caste category in India, so there is a different way of understanding. And his formulation that what is class and what is caste, and how the caste and class overlap, and sometimes divide and sometimes overlap. I think we have also not taken Ambedkar very serious, either his formulation on division of labor, or his formulation on revolution and counter-revolution, right? His formulation on annihilation of the caste. In my view, these three important concepts that he formulated are extremely important for understanding Indian reality. That I think somewhere they thought that Ambedkar is a liberal. True, he is a liberal, inspired by the liberal ideology of the West. It's also true. But then, since he had an insight, at least know where it is relevant, we should have taken that very seriously. Only in 1980s, the Naxalite party started taking caste as a very serious question. And from then on, they are debating how to negotiate with caste. But that question remains completely unresolved with K.J. Satyamurthy coming out, whatever is happening. Therefore, the Dalit movement in this country feels that the ML movement have not addressed the question of caste sufficiently enough. And wherever Dalits have gone to the fold of the Maoist movement, what happened, for example, Karanchedu Chundu, you find there was a wide response of the even state. In case of Karanchedu, state went there and state addressed the question. Even in case of Chundu, state response. In case of Vedpenta, there is no response. They did not even get compensation for a long time. The reason was that the Dalits of Vedpenta were supposed to be closer to the Maoists, and they were supporting the Maoist party. Just because you think that the Vedpenta Dalits are supporting the Maoist party, Indian state abandons the Dalits. And when the Dalit groups came from Vedpenta to the Chief Minister said that since you belong and you support the Maoists, you go to the Maoists. Why have you come to? It is the Dalit. What have to do with the ideology of the Dalit? But the ideology of the Dalit can make the Dalit different, and Indian state does not respond. So I think this entire complexity of the caste and class, the way it unfolds itself, I think it's extremely problematic. And therefore you have to deal, because caste is a class within the class, right? And therefore it is a double burden. And how do you negotiate? And this fragmented society, what Ambedkar said, division of labor is not a division of labor. If it is a division of labor, then solidarity is possible. But if the division of laborers that you have divided human beings, I think it becomes extremely difficult. If you have divided human beings, work can unite, labor can unite. But if you have consciously divided the human being without having directly one-to-one relation with the division of labor, then fragmentation becomes an inevitable process. And what is now happening is that on the one hand, suppose the Karanchedu, when I went, one rickshaw puller was telling finally, sir, this courts and they will not punish, only Annalu can come and solve it. There's a one way, that Dalit respond, these fellows require only that. But at the same time, they get some relief from the state, they get some rehabilitation. They can't abandon the state. They can't abandon the state. So in other words, for relief they want state, but for punishment they want this movement. I think they are also caught in that type of situation. So I think caste and class question, they have debated in 1980s, caste and class, but somewhere the debate got terminated without getting into the totality of the reality of caste and class. But I think as the experience unfolds itself, we have to take fresh experience and constantly Dalit movement has to conceptualize, based on our experiences, and also the Maoist party or the Marxist parties have to also constantly conceptualize, but based on concrete experience of the society. That unless we take the concrete experience the way it's unfolding, caste and class questions, it has to be resolved in the concrete context. Theoretically, it can never be resolved, and only through practice it has to be resolved, and practice has to be very clear, either of the Dalit movement or of the Marxist, postulate. I think that is where the problem is stuck. I don't think anybody in this country has an answer, a very satisfactory answer for the caste and class question. At this point, sociologists completely gone. And sociologists of this country, when Marxists were arguing that class is the primary and not caste, sociologists of this country thought caste is more important than class. From Enon Srinivas to Andre, all of them thought that the caste is. When Mandal Commission was announced on the basis of the caste, then all of them said whatever the income and all that, and they moved to the class. Entire sociological world, which has been arguing caste specificity, when it came to the reservations for the backward classes, they moved to the class. That means a discipline which was aspiring to be specific of the caste, when it faced a challenge in terms of the opportunities in the economy, the discipline backed up. They should have gone ahead. Yes, caste is very important. We feel therefore reservation based on the caste is necessary because they caste the leader society. At a stage when they should have taken that stand, they have abandoned the caste. So it's a big tragedy for academic discipline. That whatever research you have done, you didn't stand by your discipline. And then, perhaps our understanding of the caste and class would have been far deeper if only sociologists stood by what they said in the first 3 decades of India's independence. I think that's where I feel that this question remains unresolved.